Hi there, I'm Carolyn. Welcome to Nails of Aquarius, my YouTube channel. Today I have a video for you that was born out of all of the trouble that I had trying to learn how to stamp my nails. And if you're here too, I would imagine that you're having some difficulty as well, and I'm sorry for that. What I learned when I was having problems is that there's multiple ways to do the different steps involved in stamping, and it's not one size fits all. Some work for some people and some don't. So I've tried to create a compilation for you of every way I know of to do each step. So the video is broken into 5 segments. The first is on priming your stamper, first whether or not you need to do that, and if you do, how to do it with a new technique using a magic eraser. The second step is how to scrape or swipe, and that'll show you how much polish to apply to your design, what angle to hold your scraper at, how much pressure to use. The third segment is on picking up an image, and I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do that using 2 different stampers. The fourth segment is where we'll finally stamp some images, and here I'm going to show you 5 different ways to do it using 2 different stampers. And then I've included a bonus segment because I'm really hoping that something that you see here is going to get you stamping right away. So I wanted to show you how to clean up after you stamp and also how to float top coat over your design so you don't smear it. I will try to include the segments below, the times for the segments, in case you just want to jump to a particular area that you're having trouble with. Additionally, the 5 individual segments are available on my blog, so I'll include a direct link to that below as well. So enjoy the video, and I'll see you after. Thanks. With XL squishy silicone-based stampers increasing in popularity, I thought the best place for us to start would be on how to prep or prime your stamper head for use. I have good news. There's a new method that's come out recently. This is going to make this a lot easier for us. Messy Mansion has also recently launched a line of silicone-based stamper heads ranging from soft, aka marshmallow, to firm. I picked up this set of medium soft, which I find equivalent to my favorite XL squishy stamper that I've been using for a while now from eBay. It's got a really nice flex to it, but it doesn't have the stickiness of a marshmallow. It fits in the same container as the one I picked up from eBay, so if you have an extra, you can use that. Otherwise, they do sell them on the website. What I'd like you to notice is the shine in the stamper head. That's what could make it difficult for us to pick up an image, and that's what we'll be removing with the priming. Before I do any priming with the stamper head, I want to make sure that it first needs it. So I'm going to use regular nail polish, simple colors, black on black, to do a test stamp. As you can see, it looks okay, but it's not quite perfect. The new way of priming a stamper that I mentioned is with the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. I've used these before to clean scuff marks off my painted walls and things like that, but it never would have occurred to me to try to use it to prime a stamping head. I have no idea who thought of this and tried it first, but thank you. So here's what it looks like. It's just a big plastic sponge. If these don't happen to be available where you live, keep an eye on nail supply websites for similar products. I found that this process was easier to do holding the stamper head in my hand, but you could also try it in the container. What I'm doing is I'm slowly turning the stamper head in my hand while I'm gently buffing across the top of it with a magic eraser. Just so you know, this clip is not fast forwarded. This is real time how long it takes to do this. As you can see, it's pretty much matte in less than 20 seconds. The last thing I'm going to do is take a regular piece of Scotch tape and just press it all over the head to remove any little bits that the magic eraser might have left behind. So I've reinserted it into the holder, and as you can see now, it's completely matte, no shine. So now I'll repeat the same process of applying polish, scraping, and picking up the image with the prime stamper to see how much improvement we got. I'm completely thrilled with the result that we got. The new image looks perfect. So let's talk about swiping or scraping the nail polish from your stamping design. If you read my previous Know This post, you're already aware that there's many types of scrapers available to you. Over time, you probably develop a preference, and mine is that small pink Konad, but I'll show you in this video that there's times when an alternate scraper might be the best thing for the job. I'd like to start using this plate from Dashica. It's Infinity number 70, and I've chosen two designs to use. The first is a rather open pattern, and the second is the reverse of it that's more filled in. We'll be using regular nail polish, simple colors, black on black in this case. I'm going to start by applying just a small strip of nail polish along the bottom of my design. There's no need to ever cover a full nail design in nail polish. Then I'm going to hold my scraper at a 45-degree angle and gently swipe across this polish. The goal is to spread the polish out and into the design. Scraping repeatedly or scraping too hard could actually have the adverse effect and push the polish out of the design. So here's the result on the stamper. The reverse design is more filled in, so it's going to require twice as much polish. So I'll apply 2 rows of polish at the base of the image. Then I'll hold my scraper at a 45-degree angle and gently swipe to fill the crevices with polish. I'll gently roll my stamper over the design so you can see the result. Next, I'd like to work with Bundle Monster Plate 321, specifically the Hope Ribbon design. We'll be using real stamping polish, Mundo de Uñas in white in this case. Since the ribbons need to be filled in, I'll be applying stamping polish to half of the design. Then I'll use my regular process to scrape at a 45-degree angle. I need to use a firm Konad stamper to pick up designs on these plates at all, and as you can see, we still didn't get a very good result. So let's try this again using a different scraper this time. I'm going to apply the same amount of stamping polish I did before, but this time I'm going to use a plastic credit card to do my swiping. I'm going to hold it at a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to gently swipe it across the plate once. Then I'm going to use my firm Konad stamper to pick up the design, and as you can see, we get a much better result. Don't worry yourself about the smeared polish that's still left on the plate. As you can see, the stamper didn't pick it up at all. So let's talk about how to pick up an image next. I'm going to show you 2 different ways using 2 different types of stampers. The first is the Konad stamper with a firm rubber head. In case you haven't seen it before, they're usually hollow on the inside like this, and they're made up of a hard rubber plastic. There's more flexibility to them outside the stamper head than within. The second one is a squishy XL stamper that I picked up on eBay. The head in this one is made of silicone, and this one I would call medium soft. Here's a stamper head that I picked up from Messy Mansion recently that's also squishy, and they call it medium soft, and they feel exactly the same to me. We'll be using regular nail polish here as well, simple colors, black on black again. So I'll start by adding 1 layer of polish to the design and scraping gently, and using the first technique of rolling the stamper gently across the design. I'm cleaning the design in between each stamping just to make sure I get a clean stamp, but obviously you didn't need to see that, and I also won't tell you about each time that I apply polish and scrape. But this is the second technique of pushing the stamper straight down into the design with medium pressure. Moving on to the same two techniques with the firm Konad stamper. First, we're going to roll it across the design. The stamper is a little smaller than the other one, so it didn't pick up all of it. And finally, we're going to push straight down into the design with medium pressure, just like we did before. I recommend that you try out each of these different methods and see which one works best for you. Okay, so it's finally time to do some stamping. If you're just getting started, I do recommend that you practice first on a piece of paper to get a feel for the entire process from start to finish. Once you're ready to try it out on your nails, I recommend working over a decent coat of good top coat to enable you to remove a mistake with either a pad dipped in acetone or tape, as I'll show you later, or you could always work over gel nails. We'll be working with 3 stamping plates. The first is Dashka Infinity Nails, number 70. The second is also by Infinity Nails, it's plate number 42. And the last plate is Moyu London's Rebel Collection O2 plate. Since we've already learned to apply polish, swipe, and pick up a design in other sections of the video, we won't cover it again here so we can instead focus on the stamping. We'll be using real stamping polish, in this case Mundo de Uñas in dark gray. First, I'll show you the only way I know to apply a design with a Konad firm stamper. You'll need to align the design with the side of your fingernail and then gently roll the stamper over your nail until it's fully covered. Next, I'll show you the first of 4 ways I know of to use a squishy stamper to apply a design to your nail. The first one is the same way that we applied the design with the Konad stamper, lining up the image at the side of our fingernail and then rolling the stamper over until we have full coverage. The next method I'm going to show you involves pressing your fingernail into the stamper. Typically, you would do this just one-handed, pressing your finger into the stamper, but I'm holding it in an awkward position for the video, and hence I needed to use an extra finger to help myself out. Next, we'll switch to the Infinity 42 plate for a lacy design that looks best when it's applied running perfectly straight down your fingernail. To do this, I like to hold the stamper above my fingernail in a way that I can see how the design is going to be placed on my nail. Then I first go straight down, then gently to the left and to the right to get full coverage. Finally, we'll switch to Moyu London's Rebel Collection O2 plate for a design that I like to align with the bottom of my fingernail. So the grassy section would be starting at the bottom of my nail. It's a little awkward to explain, but to do this, I place the stamper flat and then I take the tip of my fingernail and push it right into the bottom of the design. Then I roll forward and left to right to get full coverage. Now let me show you that tape trick I mentioned in the beginning. Using a piece of packing tape, I'm going to go back to the design that we stamped on my thumbnail and press the tape into the design, and it's going to peel right off. This will work right up until you've top coated your nail. I've taken designs off hours later. This only works with stamping polish though, which is why I prefer it over regular nail polish. I hope you've enjoyed this tip as well as all the different stamping methods I've shown. So first we'll need to talk about how to remove all that extra stamping polish from around your fingers. I like to use a slanted eyeliner brush, a non-acetone polish remover, because it works best with my Mundo de Uñas stamping polish. You may find that using pure acetone works best for you with your stamping polish. I'm going to use the flat end of the brush around the parts of my finger and turn the brush to the straight side when I'm closer to my fingernail. I'm going to speed up the clock a little bit so you can see how I complete the process on the rest of my fingers. I only wish that I could work this quickly. Once I've finished that, I'm going to turn my hand around to face me and use the thin side of the brush to clean right along my cuticle line, or the smile line if you prefer to call it that. Finally, we'll need to finish the design with some top coat. I know lots of ladies have trouble with top coat smearing their designs, but I'm going to show you a technique called floating the top coat that'll prevent that from happening. I found 2 top coats that work rather well with this technique. The first is from Sej Feet, and the second is HK Girl Fast Drying Top Coat. I'm going to give you a close-up on how I'm doing this on my thumb, and as you can see, I'm using twice the normal amount of top coat that you'd expect, so that there's always a bubble of top coat on the brush, and I'm just floating that across my. I'm going to speed up the clock again while I complete the rest of my nails. The important points to remember here is to always have enough top coat on the brush that it never actually makes contact with your nail. It's just the implement that smooths the top coat over the surface. You'll also want to try to keep your brush strokes down to 3 whenever possible. And there you have it. Some beautifully stamped, super glossy, photo-ready nails. Congratulations. Hi there, I'm back. I hope you found the video helpful and perhaps you have a nice stamp design on your nails right now. If so, I'd love to see a picture of it. Also, I'm available for any questions. You can leave them in the comments section below, or you can email me directly at nailsofaquarius@comcast.net. Thank you again for watching. I hope you found this information helpful, and I'll see you next time.